In this video, I'll show you how to send profiles data that we have in Linked Helper and messaging history to Salesforce CRM. Linked Helper can fetch the data from profiles pages to the specifically created fields in Salesforce. While messages are stored as notes or tasks. Companies are recorded as accounts with all the data that we can get from LinkedIn. When exporting profiles data from Linked Helper, you can also create leads in Salesforce. Let's take one of my campaigns and find the step after which I want to begin Profiles Export. But firstly, make sure that the plugin is installed. In the Plugin Store menu, under Actions tab, find Send Profiles to External CRM action. Well, back to the campaign. I'd like to export profiles once all the data was fetched from LinkedIn, after Visit and Extract action. Click Add Action button. Under Export and Integration tab on the right side, select Send Person to External CRM action and choose Salesforce CRM. Now we need to connect the CRM. Click the Connect button. In the browser window, firstly, you will be asked to log into your CRM account and allow access to it. As I did this previously, now I just need to open Linked Helper application. Now let's get to the export settings. Firstly, you can decide whether to send messaging history to Salesforce or not. If yes, you can select to save messages as notes, tasks, or both. I'd like to transfer messages to Salesforce, and let's keep them as both, notes and tasks. It is also possible to select if you want to create only a lead, a contact and an account, or all of them. Let's create all three entities. And the field mapping. Here you can choose which data in Linked Helper will match which fields in Salesforce CRM. Some fields are added by default, but you can also add extra fields. Here, click on the Create Most Useful Custom Fields button. This will create custom fields in Salesforce for storing information from Linked Helper, such as profile URL, current company and position, headline, and a lot more. You can uncheck some fields if you don't want to transfer this data. But make sure that Member ID and Public ID fields are selected. These fields serve as additional identifiers to avoid creating duplicates. Though we created most useful custom fields, you can still add more. Click plus button here. In the left column, Linked Helper field, you need to select the additional information that you want to send in CRM. In my case, I'm going to select connections count, and for the right column, the matching field in Salesforce. There are quite a lot of fields in Salesforce, but if nothing from the suggested matches this Linked Helper data, you can create a new field. Give a name to the field as in the example. To create new fields in Salesforce directly, you need to navigate to the Settings, under Customization select Fields, and choose where you want this new field to be shown. Let's create a field for contacts, as we're now adjusting contacts fields in Linked Helper as well. I'm going to add followers count field, so it should be a number. Give it a name and save. Now this field must be visible in Linked Helper as well. So add a new field, select followers count in the Linked Helper column, and find the newly created field in the Salesforce column. It may not appear right away. Just wait a bit or refresh the action by saving it and opening again. Another type of fields that can be useful is constant value. This way you can record some specific text, for example, a name of a project, bold ideas, and you can send this text to any field in Salesforce. You can also send data that you created as custom variables in Linked Helper to Salesforce. So I'm going to select my custom variable, event, which includes the name of a LinkedIn event that we both attended. Also, I'd like to transfer tags, either automatic or manual ones. Don't forget to tick Overwrite checkbox for new fields. Overwrite means that Linked Helper will replace existing information in Salesforce with the new values from Linked Helper. This way, the data will be updated each time you resend a profile. Now, switch to the Account tab and click Create Most Useful Custom Fields here to fetch more data from Linked Helper and add reliable identifiers to avoid duplicates: Company ID and Public ID. You can also delete fields with unnecessary information for your CRM. And lastly, if you decide to create a lead in Salesforce, you'll need to do the mapping for it as well. Let's use the ones suggested by Linked Helper. Now we need to save the settings. And you have two options here. Save these configurations as default settings. It means that next time you use this action in some other campaign and choose default settings to use, this mapping will be applied. Or save these configurations as custom settings for this specific action. When you add an action in between, profiles may get into the skipped sublist of it, and you'll need to return them to the queue for processing. Now that everything is ready, we can start the campaign. Display more Linked Helper fields by editing List View. When you view a profiles page on LinkedIn via Linked Helper, you can send a profile immediately to CRM by means of this button on the left side menu. In the similar way, you can send a profile to Salesforce when you view them in the Linked Helper built-in CRM. In the Settings menu under External CRMs tab, you can change the default CRM and its settings. Remember that changing the default settings will affect all actions where these are applied.